Hello. Yes, it's the old Git here. How are you doing? Hope you're doing well. Already my phone's already started binging, but who cares? Because today I have something of a bombshell to release to you, which I'm going to do at the end of this. But believe me, it'll be worth watching this video just for what I've got to say at the end, because I'm going to really throw the cat amongst the pigeons, so to speak. But the video that I'm doing today, well, what it was supposed to be a lot longer, but I've had to chop it into two because it takes too much time. So I'm just trying to get myself in focus here, which is very difficult. But anyway, that's not the main goal. The main goal is to talk about today. I'm going to talk about Keir Starmer. Now, I'm not going to talk about the war thing and the things he's done wrongly. I'm not going to mention that in this video because there's something more important than that to do with what's going on at home more than what's going on abroad. So let's first of all, let's stick up a little bit of something to get you in the mood. Now, Keir Starmer, that's what we're talking about. Now, he's always been known, or he has been known amongst the legal fraternity as a what do you call it? A second-rate lawyer with no political know-how. And he's a known Marxist, and he has communist tendencies. He cannot deny that because he went to Czechoslovakia to work on a communist farm. He was the Social Democracy there, the socialist magazine. He was the editor of it at one time and wrote articles for that. So he can't deny his past and the way his ideology that he believes in. He cannot. Okay. So, and the other thing is, just to make it more interesting, the fact is that he was elected on the lowest turnout since the day of the suffragettes, which is amazing. That's the electorate. They got him in there. Now, Keir Starmer has faced significant criticism regarding his leadership style and his policy consistency since becoming the Prime Minister. In July 2024, that's when he came in, and by the late 2025, his net approval ratings had fallen to record lows. I mean, nobody likes him, you know. Nobody likes this guy at all. Anyway, this thing's getting on my nerves right now, this stupidity, where I keep fading in and fading out. But hey, I do apologise. The polls show that he's the most unpopular Prime Minister in 50 years. And he's built himself a bit of a reputation for, in his policy, he does policy reversals. He does U-turns. In fact, he's the U-turn. He is the U-turn specialist that ever could be. Let's listen to just some of the things.
Hasn't apologised for appointing Matthew Doyle because he won't take responsibility. Yeah. He never does, and they know it. The Prime Minister is now telling everyone that he's never lost a fight. It's because he won't step into the ring. He's never lost a fight. He's walked away from welfare reform. He won't stand up to the unions. He won't stand up to China. He can't even stand up to Mauritius. He's had, Mr. Speaker, he's had 3 cabinet secretaries, 4 chiefs of staff, 5 director of communications in just 18 months. And now he is mired in yet another scandal. Does he ever look in the mirror and ask himself, is the real problem staring him in the face?
Starmer stated in the Labour manifesto that there were red lines he wouldn't cross. He didn't want to re-enter the single market or the customs union. Do you believe him?
No, of course, I do not believe him at all. I think he's completely untrustworthy on these issues. He says one thing and does another. And of course, this is a prime minister that I think is now up to U-turn number 15 or 16. The British public can see that we've got a weak and feeble prime minister. He says one thing, then he's sort of like bullied and forced into different positions by his own backbenchers. He's not in control of his party, his government, and the country can see we have a weak prime minister.
He's just not capable of raising his game.
Starmer should be riding high, but he isn't. And why is he not riding high? Well, one,
Because he's useless.
I thought he would.
Because he doesn't believe
I thought
in
he'd be
anything.
competent. He's not proved it. Then you have all those own goals over. You're quite
Sue
right
Gray.
about suits and glasses,
Sue Gray.
winter fuel,
Yeah.
botched benefits
Benefits bill.
mishandling Gaza completely. It kind of didn't have to be like that. I think he's got to take responsibility for why he had a golden opportunity and he's tarnished it.
Well, that's a few of his critics there. They say it the way it is. I mean, you've got Kerry Bailinock, who's got him summed up to a T. Critics and political biographers have noted a pattern of indecisiveness and frequent policy change. Well, we know that. We've just been watching the government and people and pundits tell you that. As of the early 2026, reports have identified up to 17 major U-turns during his tenure, including the winter fuel payment, inheritance tax for the farmers, national insurance, workers' rights, digital ID, and may I go on and on and on, but you know what I mean. So 17 times he's done U-turns. And all those things that he's done U-turns on were basically the things were aimed at the working man. You know, winter fuel payments for the pensioners, yeah, let's starve them and freeze them to death. And maybe we don't have to pay so much pension out. Maybe, I don't know. Inheritance tax. Look, farmers are dedicated people who provide your food. And they don't make a lot of money. They may be equity rich in the land they own, but they're cash poor. They don't make fortunes. They work very hard. And they usually pass the farms on down to their sons or daughters to carry on their tradition and good quality farming. And, why the man attacks the farmers, I'll never know. They're the backbone of the country. We don't eat. Or we can import our food and get ripped off and get things that probably are not up to standard. Is that how he's at? He doesn't care. The working man has no standing in his government at all. And of course, he's full of left-wing people who are absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, and then national insurance and tax. They're pricing workers out of the job market. They can't afford to go to work. Many people want to go to work, but they can't go to work because the tax, the employer can't pay the tax, and the national insurance and all the other things that they have to pay. It just makes it uneconomical to employ anybody. And on top of that is workers' rights, where they tried to give you workers' rights from the first day you're employed. I don't think that's right. You should have at least a period of where the employer can see how you are, and basically by knowing this, say 3 months, and how much you like the job, and mutually you can agree to that you're not for the job or you are for the job, whichever way it is. And digital IDs, well, nobody wants them. He says it's so that we can stop illegal migrants from working. That's completely bullcrap. They mostly work on the black economy in in the industries that pay out a fistful of cash and never get checked, because we have nobody checking up on these kinds of businesses. So, straight away for me, this man is he's not very good. Everybody knows he's not very good, and his government has been, well, to say the very least, they haven't even been mediocre. They've been absolutely atrocious, to be sure. But anyway, let's move on. What about his professional and political background? Now, he has, as it says there, a litany of failures, forgotten failures. Some critics label him as a second-rate Starmer, second-rate lawyer or second-rate politician, whichever you desire to believe, but I think he's second-rate in everything he does. And Starmer had a distinguished legal career before entering politics in 2015. Now, I've not checked, but who was in government in 2015? I don't know. I'll come to that in a minute. In fact, I'll look it up whilst we're talking. I should have done this before we came on there, but there you go. It's all live. Who was the government? 2015. It's relevant that I find out. I can't remember offhand. So, 2015. It was the Conservative government. Yeah. So just remember what I've just said. The Conservatives were in power in 2015, and I think the bar was set pretty low during that time because some of the results were questionable, and some high-profile cases which he did before that were pretty questionable as well. So he came in. Sorry. In 2015, he didn't go into government then. It was the Conservatives. Get all mixed up here, but you know what I mean. So let's just stick with that. The government of the day in 2015 was, what was it? Yes, it was Cameron's government, yes. Was it Cameron? I think it was Cameron. Conservatives. Anyway, Conservatives. So, and he entered the bar, and the bar was set during that time was very, very low. The political stance was very, very low anyway, because Cameron's government wasn't very good. Anyway, I think I've got that right. David Cameron, yeah, he continued to be Prime Minister. Now, it's important that you remember which government was in power. Now, all the this litany of forgotten failures, I'm only going to concentrate on one. And the reason I'm doing that because I think this is an absolute bombshell. Maybe people already know, but those that don't will be very, very surprised. Now, we'll keep a little bit of his history, right? He was a high-profile human rights barrister, and he was appointed to Queen's Counsel as a QC in 2002, and he served as the Director of Public Prosecutions from 2008 to 2013, and he received a knighthood for services to criminal justice. Now, please remember the words human rights lawyer. Now, as I said, I've got a bombshell for you people that don't know this. That's why this particular video is not going to be long, because there's lots of other things I wanted to say today, in particular about what's going on in Iran and other things, and the complete utter disdain that our Prime Minister has for anybody, and the fact that he's destroying our partnership and long-standing cooperation that we've had with the US of A. Another story. So I'm going to leave that because that's for another, because what I want to concentrate on is this. Now, I want everybody who watches this video to share it at least once, because I think everybody should know who's responsible. Now, he challenged the UK government in 2002 regarding Section 55 of the Nationality, Immigration, Asylum Act, which denied support to asylum seekers. So if things had been kept at that as the law was then, asylum seekers coming to the UK illegally or legally weren't entitled to any benefits, none, zilch, nothing. Okay? So, what happened? So the Act actually denied support to asylum seekers. And what did he do? What did this fantastic man do? No wonder they like to give away your money so much. He turned that ruling over. Now you know who's to blame for giving handouts of taxpayers' money to asylum seekers. He went against the government of the time and changed the law so that asylum seekers immigrants and asylum seekers were allowed to take benefits from the UK copies. I think that is the most disgusting thing that he's done. But why don't we know? Why is it? There's so many failures which didn't help our country. And I want you to think about this for a minute, because if he didn't, or he hadn't have changed that law in 2002, he turned the law over. He went against his government in favour of asylum seekers and immigrants. And now you're paying the price. You're paying the price, because I'm sure any country could be, if they have that law in place, it's not going against the ECHR. It's written in law that they weren't entitled to any benefits. And I'm sure for genuine cases, a government of good standing would use discretionary measures to help those who were genuine and kick out the ones that weren't, because they weren't going to get any money, so there was no point in coming. No, we are the breadbasket of the world now for all and sundry. For the worst people that you could ever want in your country, they're coming in their droves because they want to bleed you dry. And who's responsible for that? As far as I'm concerned, Keir Starmer. He changed the law from not granting asylum seekers money to granting them. And that was done in 2000. Why is it so quiet? Why is it that nobody's mentioned this? I haven't heard anybody mention this fact, that the person responsible for changing that law was Keir Starmer. He's your man. In 2000, it says here 2003, but I've got 2002, so I've got conflicting years, but it really doesn't. Starmer won a case that gave illegal migrants access to UK benefits. 20 years later, we're living in the chaos he created. It began in 2003, and then unknown human rights lawyer named Keir Starmer stood before the courts and won the ruling granting illegal immigrants access to UK benefits. There it is, folks. There it is in a nutshell. He's done nothing except ruin this country since he's been in power. He keeps on, his favourite words, the party opposite, the party opposite. The times in Question Time, I hear him say that, he blames them. He's been in office now, was it 18 months or thereabouts? And in that time, he's managed to bring the country to his knees. We've got Rachel Reeves, who couldn't add up on a calculator. We've got Angela Rayner, who was a Deputy Prime Minister, who doesn't like to pay a tax. We've got David Lammy, that fights with taxi drivers. We've got the other guy that was fighting in the street and knocked one of his constituents out. We've got people that have been pandering to the Chinese, which he's doing anyway. Nothing that this government has done. Do not keep saying the party opposite, because it doesn't wash. You can't keep on blaming the party opposite, because it's you. You're in charge, the buck stops with you. And I think it's time now, for all the badness he's done, and don't forget he's one of the Fabians. I did I'm the first one to mention that there were a lot of the Labour Party are members of the Fabian Society, and we all know what their ideology is. Although they say they don't interfere. Well, considering so many are members, I can't see how they don't. But they want to break society down and rebuild it, a bit like George Orwell's 1984. If you haven't read the book, I've got the film. There is a film about it, yeah. So, as I said, today I'm not going to be long, because I think this subject, just this one aspect of this video, should go viral. It should everybody know in the UK, because of that idiot, Granny Harmer Starmer, the man with the 2 brain cells which he shares amongst the whole of Parliament, changed the law, and the law was Section 55 of the Nationality, Immigration and Asylum Act, which denied support to our asylum seekers, leading the ruling that they were entitled to support, right? And now, who's to blame for that? As he was then a little-known lawyer. So, you see, friends, again, another nail in the coffin. I would like to see a general election. It's not fair that the people should keep putting up with this. That they go out, that they've had their freedom of speech taken away. Sorry, you know, you can't say anything. Now they're going to put an Islamophobic czar. Okay, if you're going to do that, what about a secularist, the Sikh czar, and one for Christian czar? Okay, because there's Anglophobes, isn't there? Englophobes, whiteophobes, right? We need a czar for everyone. What about the ones for Hindus? And one for Zarathustrians, one for Jedis. It's all fair and fair, isn't it? Why are you singling out one religion that's here to take you over? They're telling you in every mosque across the country that you'll be taken over, and if you don't convert, you'll die, or we'll pay this jizya, their tax, to stay alive. What's wrong with you? Even the countries, the Arab states, who are more progressive than even the UK, the UAE, Saudi Arabia. Okay, they've got human rights problems as well, but you know, on top of all that, these people wouldn't last 2 minutes. These people who are coming to the UK and destroying the UK and Europe, they don't want them. They'd lock them up. So listen, folks, listen. What you've got to do is, please don't concentrate what I'm saying now, because I've got a whole new video about what's going on and the takeover, which is going at pace now. And isn't it funny that only today, and today is the 8th of the 3rd, 2026, that only today Lebanon, the army of Lebanon, have been emboldened to start attacking the rebel Islamists that's been attacking Israel. So I think Israel, you know, the world's changing. We're becoming the 14th century societies, and they are growing. The Arab states are growing. They're becoming successful. They're doing things right, and they still follow Islam, but they don't follow this radical Islam. Anyway, I don't want to leave on that point. I don't want to leave it at that on that point. I want to say basically this. I'm sorry for the fuzziness. One of these days I'm going to get it right. It's the lighting, you see. Keir Starmer, he is at fault in every aspect of spoiling the country. And way back in 2002, he changed the law so that you will be responsible from your taxpayers' money for all the asylum seekers. It's a good way. It's a good way of destroying society by making them bankrupt. Keir Starmer, call a general election. Have some cojones and let the people decide whether they still want you. And believe me, we know the answer, and so do you. But if you think so much of your job that you're not doing, the globe-trotting that you do, to no avail, we're a laughing stock. You go there like you're some kind of, presidente of some big country. We're not. In fact, you've ruined our country. We have no standing. We're a little island in the North Sea, and we're failing and failing and failing, and very shortly be taken over too. So, that's all I'm going to say today. That's all I'm going to say. It could be long. I could go on and on and on. Please, everybody, share this video at least once, because everybody should know who's responsible for spending your tax money on immigrants and asylum seekers. Okay? That's it for me. Stay safe till the next time. Hopefully there will be a next time. Stay safe, I said. There's nothing else to say. See you next time.